In a world filled with noise, where fortunes are made and flaunted overnight, there's a parallel universe of wealth that operates in total silence. This is the world of old money, a term that isn't just about cash in the bank, but about cultural and historical capital passed down through generations. While new money shouts, old money whispers. It's a world with its own set of unwritten rules, a different mindset forged over decades, sometimes centuries, of quiet influence. The kids born into this world, the heirs of families like the Rockefellers or Vanderbilts, aren't just raised, they're cultivated. Their upbringing is a carefully crafted process designed to produce stewards, not show-offs. They're taught that their inheritance isn't a prize to be flaunted, but a legacy to be protected. The very idea of bragging is seen as vulgar, a sure sign of insecurity. This mindset is the invisible architecture that holds up their enduring success. And it's the secret to why the quietest people in the room are so often the most powerful. In a world where everyone seems to be flaunting their life on social media with flashy cars and designer logos, have you ever wondered why the quietest people in the room are often the wealthiest? Kids born into old money are raised by a strict, unspoken code designed to keep them out of the spotlight. This isn't about hiding their wealth, it's about preserving it. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the 15 rules of an old money upbringing that teach them to value discretion over dollars. Rule 1. Humility above all. Everything in the old money playbook starts with one foundational rule: humility. For these families, wealth isn't a sign of personal genius. It's a historical circumstance, a baton passed from one generation to the next. Kids are taught from day one that their family's fortune doesn't make them better than anyone else. Bragging about money or status is the ultimate social sin. It's seen as tacky, unsophisticated, and a complete misunderstanding of their role in the world. But this isn't just a moral lesson, it's a survival strategy. Old money families know that arrogance breeds resentment and attracts all the wrong kinds of attention. Humility, on the other hand, builds bridges and fosters real relationships based on character, not a balance sheet. It's a kind of social camouflage, allowing them to move through different circles without causing friction. The psychology is brutally effective. If you don't act like you're above others, people are far less likely to want to pull you down. It's why someone like Warren Buffett, while technically self-made and not old money, perfectly embodies this principle by living in the same modest home he bought in 1958. It's a deliberate performance of humility that makes him seem grounded and trustworthy, not like an out-of-touch billionaire. The lesson is drilled in through daily life. Kids are corrected for acting entitled, taught to say please and thank you to everyone, and expected to do chores that ground them in reality. They learn that their value comes from their own kindness and conduct, not the family name. Bragging is just an attempt to prove you're superior, but in the old money world, true superiority means having nothing to prove. Rule 2. Subtlety and stealth wealth. The second rule flows directly from the first, the art of stealth wealth. While new money might use flashy logos to announce their arrival, old money finds that sort of thing deeply vulgar. Their philosophy isn't about spending less, it's about communicating wealth differently. The message isn't for everyone, it's a coded language meant only for their peers. This is the world of unbranded cashmere sweaters that cost a fortune, bespoke suits with the tailor's label hidden inside, and vintage watches passed down for generations whose value is only known to a fellow enthusiast. The goal is always quality, craftsmanship, and longevity over fleeting trends. A worn-in barber jacket or a 20-year-old Land Rover doesn't say, "I'm broke." It says, "My family is so secure, we don't need to impress anyone." It proves you understand that real luxury is about endurance, not newness. This idea goes way beyond clothes. Their homes are more likely to be grand estates tucked behind old trees and unassuming gates than glass mansions put on display. Their vacations are more likely a private family retreat or a cultural tour than a loud party in Ibiza. This is partly for privacy and security. Flaunting wealth makes you a target, But it's also about social distinction. By rejecting mainstream luxury, they create an even more exclusive club, one where membership is based on taste and knowledge, not just the ability to buy things. Anyone can buy a Gucci belt, but only a select few can appreciate the heritage of a Patek Philippe Calatrava. Stealth wealth is the ultimate power move, being rich without needing anyone else to know it. Rule 3. Long-term thinking and legacy. An old money kid isn't raised to think in years or decades, but in generations. This might be the single biggest difference between old and new money. While new money is often focused on earning and spending it all in one lifetime, old money is obsessed with preserving it. They see themselves as temporary custodians of the family fortune, not owners. Their main job is to pass the wealth and the values that protect it on to the next generation, hopefully a little bigger than they found it. This long-term mindset, sometimes called cathedral thinking, shapes every big decision. When looking at an investment, the question isn't just, what's the quarterly return? But will this asset still be valuable in 50 years? A house isn't just a house, it's a potential family home for the next century. A member of the Hermes family famously said, "You do not inherit the family business, you borrow it from your grandchildren." This mindset breeds patience and discipline. Risky get-rich-quick schemes are out. Stable, conservative investments are in. The goal isn't explosive growth, it's avoiding catastrophic loss. This focus on legacy changes how they spend money too. Before a big purchase, they're taught to ask, will this hold its value? A piece of fine art or a classic watch might. A trendy car and a closet full of fast fashion won't. This is why they often gift assets to their children, like stocks or contributions to a trust fund, instead of just flashy toys. They're teaching them to think like investors, not consumers.
Rule 4. Respect for tradition and family values. In a world obsessed with what's new, old money finds its anchor in tradition. For these families, traditions are the glue that holds generations together and reinforces who they are. And it goes way beyond just holiday dinners. We're talking about unwritten rules that can dictate where you go to school, what you do for the summer, who you socialize with, and even what you name your kids. It's common for generations of the same family to attend the same Ivy League school, creating a powerful built-in network. These traditions aren't just for show, they're how the family's core values get passed down. When a family has a long tradition of serving on a museum's board, it teaches the younger generation that they have a duty to the arts. When they spend every August at the same quiet coastal town, they aren't just on vacation, they're reinforcing social bonds with other families in their circle. It creates a closed-loop system where their values and relationships are constantly strengthened. Family history is sacred. Kids grow up surrounded by portraits of their ancestors and learn the stories of their family's triumphs and, just as importantly, their failures. This creates a sense of being part of something bigger than yourself. Of course, the pressure to live up to the family name can be intense, and individual desires often come second to the family's reputation. For old money, you are never just you. You are a link in a very long chain. Rule 5. Empathy and social responsibility. Forget the stereotype of the out-of-touch aristocrat. A core part of an old money upbringing is teaching empathy and a deep sense of social responsibility. Kids are taught that their privilege isn't a right, but an obligation, a duty to give back to the society that allowed their family to succeed in the first place. This isn't seen as optional charity. It's a fundamental part of their role, a concept Andrew Carnegie famously called the gospel of wealth. He argued the rich have a moral duty to use their fortunes to better the community. This sense of duty starts young. Kids get involved in the family's philanthropic work, and not just for a quick photo op. They might volunteer at hospitals or serve meals at shelters. This has two benefits. First, it bursts the bubble of privilege and shows them how other people live, building real empathy. Second, it trains them for their future roles running the family's foundations, which are often as complex as their businesses. And this philanthropy is almost always done with discretion. Old money families often donate anonymously, seeing public praise for their generosity as tacky. They're more interested in building a hospital wing that will last for a century than in having their name trend on social media for a day. It teaches that wealth is a tool for impact, and true power isn't in what you have, but in what you contribute. Rule 7. Polished etiquette and manners. For old money, etiquette isn't just a stuffy set of rules for using the right fork. It's a complete social code that guides every single interaction. It's the oil in their social machine, a language of respect and grace that signals you belong. Kids are drilled in manners from the moment they can talk, and it's more than just please and thank you. They learn the art of conversation. Listen more than you speak, ask thoughtful questions, and never, ever discuss money, politics, or personal gossip. This training creates a signature sense of poise. Loud voices, emotional outbursts, and dramatic gestures are seen as unrefined and are strongly discouraged. A child learns to handle disappointment with grace and accept a compliment with humility. They are taught to write thank you notes, a small but powerful gesture of thoughtfulness in a world of instant messages. They learn to give a firm handshake and make eye contact, projecting a quiet confidence that is neither arrogant nor timid. The whole point of this is to ensure they can move through any social situation without making others uncomfortable or embarrassing the family. And this social grace is its own form of power. It opens doors and builds trust. A person with perfect manners is seen as reliable, considerate, and in control, qualities that are just as valuable in the boardroom as they are at a dinner party. Rule 8. Discretion and privacy. Live happy, live hidden. This old saying could be the mantra for old money families. Rule number 7 is an obsession with discretion and the fierce protection of privacy. In an age of oversharing, old money operates on a strict need-to-know basis, and they've decided that almost nobody needs to know. Personal finances, family drama, and private affairs are completely off limits for public discussion. Children learn this by watching their parents expertly deflect personal questions and avoid public drama at all costs. They're taught that talking about money is vulgar, and airing the family's dirty laundry is the ultimate betrayal. This extends to social media. While new money heirs might document every lavish moment on Instagram, old money kids are often ghosts online, with private accounts and a tiny digital footprint. They understand that the internet is forever, and one bad post can damage a reputation that took generations to build. There are good reasons for this intense privacy. First, it's for security. Flaunting wealth makes you a target for criminals and lawsuits. Discretion is a shield. Second, it preserves an aura of mystique. By staying out of the tabloids, they maintain a dignity that public figures can never have. Their power feels more potent because it's not fully seen. Finally, privacy helps ensure their relationships are real. By keeping their wealth private, they can be more confident that people like them for who they are, not for their bank account. Rule 8. Living below their means. Here's one of the most counterintuitive rules. The wealthy often make it a habit to live below their means. Even though they could afford almost any luxury, old money families often practice a kind of voluntary restraint. This isn't about being cheap, it's about a deep respect for capital and a laser focus on long-term wealth preservation. They know the biggest threat to a family fortune is lifestyle inflation, the tendency to spend more just because you have more. You can see this in subtle ways. They might live in the same family home for decades rather than constantly upgrading to a bigger mansion. They're more likely to repair a quality item than to replace it. They value durability in everything they buy, from cars to kitchen appliances. Outsiders might see this as stinginess, but it's a core part of their financial strategy. Every dollar not spent on something that loses value is another dollar that can be invested to grow for the next generation. Kids learn this through their allowance. They learn that money isn't limitless and has to be managed. They might be expected to save up for something they want, or even work a summer job, not for the cash, but for the lesson in discipline. This upbringing creates a psychological immunity to consumer culture. They're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, because in their world, they are the Joneses.
Rule 9. Education and intellectual curiosity. For old money families, education is the ultimate status symbol. But they see education as something much broader than just getting a fancy degree to land a high-paying job. For them, it's about building intellectual and cultural capital, the knowledge, refinement, and critical thinking skills that support their social position and prepare them to be good stewards of their legacy. It starts early, with a heavy emphasis on reading, arts, and culture. These kids grow up in homes filled with books, where dinner conversation might be about history, literature, or current events. They're pushed to be curious, to ask questions, and to learn about a wide range of topics. Formal education, of course, is a huge deal. They're expected to attend top private schools and Ivy League universities, not just for the classes, but for the powerful social networks that come with them. This intellectual curiosity is a lifelong thing. It's not uncommon for members of old money families to be fluent in several languages, to be expert patrons of the arts, or to be amateur historians. This knowledge gives them a quiet confidence that allows them to talk intelligently about almost anything. And it's practical too. A deep understanding of history, economics, and human nature is pretty useful when you're managing a global business or a multi-billion-dollar foundation. Wealth can be lost, but knowledge is permanent. Rule 10. Patience and discipline. In our culture of instant gratification, an old money upbringing is a masterclass in patience. Kids learn from a young age that the best things in life aren't gotten impulsively, but through careful planning and steady effort. This applies to everything, from mastering a classical instrument to waiting for the right moment to make an investment. Patience is seen as a strategic advantage. You see this discipline most clearly in their financial habits. They're taught to ignore fads and think in terms of long market cycles. While new money might chase a hot stock, old money is steadily investing in a diversified portfolio, happy to let compound interest work its magic over decades. This requires huge emotional control. They don't panic when the market drops, because their financial plan is built for it. They don't get greedy during bubbles, because they're not looking for a quick win. They're playing the long game. This discipline goes beyond money. It's about personal conduct. They're taught to control their emotions, think before they speak, and avoid impulsive decisions that could tarnish the family name. To outsiders, this can look cold or distant, but it's a cultivated restraint, a belief that a disciplined mind is the key to a successful life. By teaching their kids to delay gratification, these families are giving them the greatest tool for building and preserving wealth. Rule 13. Avoiding entitlement and arrogance. One of the biggest jobs of an old money parent is to fight a constant battle against entitlement. It seems paradoxical, but these families work incredibly hard to make sure their kids don't grow up thinking the world owes them something. They know arrogance is a liability. It alienates people, breeds contempt, and signals a total lack of self-awareness. Children are explicitly taught to treat every single person with respect, regardless of their job or social status. A kid being rude to household staff or a waiter would be dealt with swiftly and seriously. This isn't just about being nice, it's a lesson in power. Real power doesn't need to be condescending. Arrogance is a sign of insecurity, a trait that gets ruthlessly stamped out. This lesson is reinforced by experiences designed to burst the privilege bubble. As mentioned, this could be charity work that exposes them to hardship, or a summer job that teaches them what it feels like to work a hard day for a modest wage.
They learn that the family name might open doors, but it's their own character and work ethic that will let them stay in the room. The goal is to instill a sense of noblesse oblige, the idea that privilege comes with a responsibility to act with honor and generosity. It's the ultimate antidote to entitlement. Rule 14. Selective socialization. The social world of old money is a carefully curated bubble. Rule number 12 is that while you should be polite to everyone, real closeness is reserved for a very select few. Old money families tend to socialize within their own class, a practice that protects their values, reinforces their social standing, and, frankly, ensures suitable marriages for their kids. This process starts in childhood. Kids are sent to the same exclusive schools, attend the same elite summer camps, and are enrolled in the same debutante balls. These aren't just activities, they're social filters. They make sure that from a young age, these kids are building a network of peers who share their background and understand their unwritten rules. It's why in old money circles, it often seems like everyone knows everyone, because they pretty much do. This isn't necessarily about snobbery, it's about pragmatism. For these families, marriage is not just a romance, it's a strategic alliance. Marrying someone from a similar background, who understands the pressures of managing generational wealth, is seen as vital for keeping the family fortune safe. A spouse with different values around money, privacy, or legacy could create a major fracture. By keeping the social circle tight, they lower that risk. It's not about looking down on others, it's about protecting the integrity of their world.
Rule 13. Purposeful leisure and hobbies. For the old money class, free time is rarely idle. Rule 13 is that your hobbies should be purposeful. They should act as subtle signals of status, create networking opportunities, and build character. While new money might gravitate toward trendy, high-cost activities, old money hobbies are often traditional, prestigious, and require a huge investment in skill and time, not just cash. Think of sports like polo, sailing, or dressage. You can't just decide to pick these up one weekend. They take years of practice and access to exclusive clubs. Participating in these sports signals a background of leisure and resources without saying a word. A family that owns horses communicates a level of wealth far more profound than one that just leases a Lamborghini. These hobbies are also key social scenes where business deals get made and alliances are strengthened on the polo field or at the yacht club. Even non-athletic hobbies are chosen with purpose. A passion for art collecting or opera isn't just a personal interest. It's a way to participate in and shape high culture. These activities show sophistication and a commitment to cultural stewardship. Kids are encouraged to develop these passions young. They get lessons in writing or sailing, not just for fun, but to learn discipline, sportsmanship, and an appreciation for tradition. In this world, how you spend your free time says just as much about you as how you earn your money. Rule 14. Financial literacy and money stories. You might assume that kids born with a silver spoon don't need to worry about money, but the opposite is true. Rule 14 makes financial literacy a non-negotiable part of their education. Old money families are terrified of the old saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, because they know it's often true. And the number one cause is heirs who are totally unprepared to manage the wealth they inherit. Financial education starts early and is very hands-on. A kid's allowance might be divided into jars for spending, saving, and donating. As they get older, they might be given a small investment portfolio to manage, letting them learn about markets with real but limited stakes. They are introduced to the family's financial advisors and lawyers early on, not to get a lecture, but to start building the relationships they'll need for the rest of their lives. Crucially, they're taught to have a healthy, practical relationship with money. Unlike in many families where money is a taboo subject, in these households it's discussed openly and unemotionally, like any other tool that needs to be managed. They learn about complex topics like trusts, estate planning, and tax law. This demystifies wealth and strips it of the emotional charge that can lead to bad decisions. By making sure their kids are financially competent, they're empowering the next generation to be responsible stewards. Rule 15. Giving back as a core value. The final rule brings us right back to the beginning, reinforcing the ideas of humility and responsibility. For old money, philanthropy isn't an afterthought or a PR move, it's woven into their very identity. Giving back is taught as a core value, the ultimate purpose of a privileged life. Many of these families have been running charitable foundations for generations, funding everything from universities and hospitals to museums and scientific research. This commitment to giving back acts as the family's moral compass. It provides a sense of purpose that goes beyond just making more money. When you have enough wealth to last for generations, the big question is no longer, how do we get more? But what is all this for? Philanthropy is the answer. It allows the family to shape its legacy and transform its financial capital into social good. Kids are brought into this culture of giving from day one. They learn that their family's name is associated not just with wealth, but with public service. This gives them a sense of pride that's rooted in contribution, not consumption. It's the final, most important lesson that the true measure of their family's success isn't how much they have, but how much they give away. This is why so many of America's great institutions bear the names of its old money dynasties. Their greatest ambition wasn't to die rich, but to live on through their generosity. These 15 rules are more than just a code of conduct. They're a sophisticated system for preserving wealth and influence across generations. If you found these insights interesting, please like this video and subscribe for more dives into the unwritten rules that shape our world. We'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these rules surprised you the most? At the end of the day, old money kids don't brag because they're taught that their wealth isn't their own achievement. It's a legacy to manage, a responsibility to uphold, and a tool for a purpose bigger than themselves. Their entire upbringing is designed to instill humility, discretion, and long-term thinking. They learn that flaunting wealth is a sign of weakness, and that real power lies in quiet confidence and understated class. These rules show that the survival of old money isn't about finance, it's about psychology. It's a mindset that chooses legacy over luxury, responsibility over rights, and character over capital. And it's a powerful reminder that while a fortune can be lost in a flash, a strong value system passed down through generations might be the only inheritance that's truly indestructible.